Yeah, so this is, again, we are sharing the stage with people from the industry, again, that are making things happen. And we are joined today and in this session by Cole Ashman from Pila Energy. Cole, how you doing?
Doing great today. Thanks so much for having me. Excited to talk about, how smart batteries in the home are coordinating with vehicles and making all this stuff work together better.
Well, and you are the founder and CEO of Pila. And again, what I think is really cool about what you guys are working on, number one, aesthetically, beautiful product.
Thank you.
I mean, the first time I saw that you guys had announced what you were working on, I was like, this is just, if you want to think about how to add something to your home, it's like, I would like to have this sitting there. Aesthetically, number one, it looks great.
Well, thank you. And it has to be, right? So just to step back, I'm Cole, founder and CEO of Pila Energy. I got my start in the home battery business at Tesla, working on the Powerwall, and then led product at a company called Span, who created the smart electrical panel. So I've been focusing on how we make our homes and businesses smarter from the energy side of the equation for a long time now. And I think what's become clear is that if you own your home and you can shell out $20,000 to $100,000 to do a massive electrical upgrade, you're in good shape. But there's a lot of the rest of us that need on-ramps into this space, and Pila is the product for that.
Well, I think that's the best way to explain it is it really is this modular and accessible and approachable way of managing energy. And I thought that was really, that's what jumped out at me when I first saw what you guys were working on. And I guess, and to kind of unpack that too, your experience with the work you've done, both with Tesla and Span, for those that are unfamiliar, the Powerwall team and the Powerwall program at Tesla, this is for home batteries. You get a home solar, you attach that to your home batteries, you basically can just have your house powered by the sun and powered at night with those batteries. Span was, again, as it also is a product, I think is great. It takes that boring electrical box and says, let's make it smart, and it gives you visibility on where you're using energy, right?
That's right. Yeah, so if we want a quick kind of road trip through product history.
What have you been doing?
Right. Well, and just to keep it very brief, home batteries have been around for a while, right? It started with lead-acid battery banks and charge controllers, but this would look like something out of a science project.
That dude that's off-grid in Colorado that's like, get off my property.
Prepper, and like there's lots of types of folks who brought that technology forward, but very custom, and often it'd be in its own shed because lead-acid, off gases, hydrogen. Powerwall was this beautiful step forward, taking all of that smart tech and bundling it into a product that kind of made sense and was beautiful, right? And suddenly anyone could get it, as long as you owned your home.
Right, exactly, yeah.
You pair it with your solar, pairs well with the EV and adding that new electric load too. Span, smart electrical panel, we were taking the 100-year-old gray fuse box that exists in every home and business where your circuit breakers are, and turning that passive device into something more like a power router. So every electron flowing to your EV charger from your solar, from the grid to your refrigerator can be monitored and optimized to save you money and also extend your time in those backup situations.
And again, the panel, I don't know, where's your panel in your house? Garage? Where's it located? Is it basement?
Around the side wall outside.
Right, again, and then you flip that thing open, it's got the in handwriting and pencil.
Not something I look forward to opening that thing, that's for sure.
And it's something that thankfully we don't have to think about a lot, but it's becoming more and more forefront as we do these upgrades to our built environment, to our homes and businesses. We're adding EV charging, we're adding solar. We need backup power as the grid starts to kind of get stressed more and more by big storms. So suddenly it's more relevant for more homes and families and businesses in this country. And it's this kind of background tech that's hard to reason about. We got to make it simpler.
And you had through your career path, you had this window into, here's how we can do this at scale with solar and batteries. Then you had that window into, and there's how the team that founded Span also came out of the Powerwall team.
That's correct.
Because of all the installs that were happening, that was one of the huge pain points was, we can get to these houses and put in batteries and solar, but that breaker box is a nightmare.
Absolutely. And again, just, the history of all this is so interesting. Tesla was so unique because they had acquired SolarCity. And unlike other equipment manufacturers in solar, they had a deployment arm, and they were saying, hang on a second, this stuff is really expensive to install. We're trying to sell this to customers, and half the cost is the labor and the design and the permitting. So, they threw incredible engineers, and I got to work with that team on making the deployment easier. And then, you can naturally see where you start to get into these other adjacent products, panels, EV chargers.
It starts to kind of, so we're talking about, you described it really well, is like energy is kind of in our face more than it used to be.
That's right.
It was always kind of this behind the scenes thing of like, I hit the switch, AC turns on, it works. But energy ownership is really becoming front and center. So for all that you've done, what was the moment you kind of thought to yourself, wait a second, we can make this more approachable for more people that aren't homeowners, and this was the kind of like the light bulb moment for Pila?
Well, and that's a great way to frame it, because it was kind of a light bulb moment. The team and I had been pushing on making deployment easier for so long, and I think we'd seen kind of linear improvements, small steps along the way. But we really need that unlock that suddenly makes it accessible to 100% of homes and businesses, which is both a cost thing, so lowering that soft cost, but then also a product design question. So the product that we've built is a small modular plug-and-play battery that can install across your home. You literally plug it into an outlet, a standard wall outlet, and it protects whatever it's connected to. It could be your refrigerator, your air conditioning system, your Wi-Fi, your den. Think about it as a room-by-room, appliance-by-appliance system, kind of like what Sonos did to home audio.
Okay,
that's taking it out of a professionally installed speaker-in-the-wall, multi-day project that maybe you do when you build the home, to something that suddenly, even if you have the studio apartment in Brooklyn, you can get one of these, but it scales up, to that Texas McMansion. Our batteries all coordinate with each other and act like a big Powerwall in the garage.
Yeah, this is what's fun is having the visibility you had into how those products worked. Again, as you sell a Powerwall, again, we're talking $10,000 in that ballpark or more.
Northern California, you're going to see entry ticket prices at $20,000. And $10,000 for the hardware, $10,000 for permitting, design, interconnection.
And guess what? It's really hard to take it with you.
Well, and if you move,
Now, the thing is, again, it's a lot of batteries, but what you're describing, again, it takes the Powerwall concept, and it's almost like Legos. It just distributes it out to the house.
And guess what? If I'm moving, I'm taking it with me.
Exactly,
absolutely. And we're in this EV realm now. I often liken it to level 1 charging, right? Because let's say you do rent. Maybe you're not going to make the jump, convincing your landlord and the rest, but you're really interested in protecting your home and your family and managing your energy, since this is about saving money on your bill as much as it is about backup power. How do you have that system that kind of comes with you, grows with you? And don't get me wrong, Powerwall and these home batteries from other companies like Enphase are incredible, if you can get them and if you can, get a good deal on them.
Well, it's not always cost effective,
But
right?
it's not always cost effective if you don't own your home. There's a lot of disqualifications along the way that have just limited what people can do.
But permitting, you don't need a permit to plug something into your wall outlet.
You don't need a permit to plug something into your wall outlet.
That's like that's a billboard.
Right.
But to that point, so what have you seen already? Now, number one, I guess, kind of backing up a bit. You're in market now with product. I mean, people can purchase these, yes?
Pre-orders, yes. We'll be shipping later this year. So we launched out of stealth at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, back in March, and excitement around this product has been tremendous. So the team's working incredibly hard to get products out to our pre-order customers. But for folks that are interested, pilaenergy.com, they can get on that list of early customers.
Go ahead.
No, absolutely. I mean, as a person who charges a vehicle in my garage, obviously, one of the things that I had when I first purchased a home was a big gas generator in the garage that the previous owner left. Guess what was the first thing that left my house when I bought the house?
Yeah. So, I picture like cartoon of you just like punting it down the driveway.
Basically, that was basically it. So something like this is something that totally, it fits the lifestyle of an EV owner. Thinking about their home as, connected devices, thinking about the home as anything that, needs to stay functional, because we rely more and more on electric devices, far more than what we did 30, 40 years ago, obviously.
Well, and as you say it that way, it's the unspoken thing of where it is changing. Where we've all sort of lived it a bit, whether it's a brownout or a blackout or something weird that happens. And the idea of being able to, as you said, kind of like take it with you, but also distribute it out through your home. This could be a studio apartment where you've got 2 or 3 of these things, or a McMansion that's got a synced up 50 of them or something.
I mean, we can talk about hundreds and actually turning large commercial buildings into megapack-sized batteries. I mean, the beautiful thing about this modular platform is that there's no limit to the scale, kind of practically. Studio apartment, Texas McMansion, I'll raise you one since we're here surrounded by all these amazing vehicles, as a companion to the large vehicle pack so that you don't need to overbuild your own home energy system and your backup system. You've got the vehicle doing vehicle to home and providing that power in an outage, and then let's say you need to go to the supercharger because it's a multi-day outage, or go check on something away from home. You've got your essentials covered and kind of got the low power mode covered in a really cost-effective way. Things like fridge, Wi-Fi, security systems, sump pumps, the must-have type things. It's an incredibly elegant pairing, the two of them.
Well, and what you have as a product, I mean, based on what I've seen, is it's like kind of like the size of a skinny briefcase.
That's right.
Or a super thick laptop, and it just kind of goes where you set it. Now, how do you, from a connection perspective, is this kind of like, I think about when I set up my Nest thermostat and CO2 sensors at home, it's like, okay, I'm scanning the QR code, I'm putting it in this room, and I'm saying that's the one is that the vision of what you guys will have for product management?
That's right, and it has to be incredibly simple. So we have one SKU, right? Anything you can plug into the wall, this can power and more, actually, and then from a backup time perspective, we'll tell you exactly what's going on in an outage or before. So if it's connected to a refrigerator and your microwave and your whole kitchen, we, through an app and a beautiful kind of display on the device, will tell you, hey, that's 30 hours of backup, and here are some things you can do. And then when the grid is on, it's saving you money in the background, and it's working with the one in your bedroom and in your den and in your basement and in your garage fridge to manage that energy, shift to times of day when energy is less expensive, and also keep an eye out on those expensive appliances, right? So it's actually building these software models around your specific, let's say, refrigerator, not unlike Nest, right? Telling you, hey, in Nest's case, it's time to replace the filter. In our case, it's you probably want to call someone because your refrigerator is using way too much energy and it's about to fail.
That's super cool.
I love that.
It's kind of like an Apple Watch for those essential appliances.
Like a health monitor and saying, like, why is this sucking so much juice right now? It's like, oh, it's working too hard because the motor inside is dying or something.
Right, and we've all had that moment where you reach into the refrigerator and it's a little warm, or maybe it's making a sound that we don't think it should be.
That sounds like that's like a scene from Ghostbusters, Cole. That's what that is. I mean,
yeah.
That's when you throw the milk out.
I was going to say, that's
exactly.
If the milk says don't, that means you got to get it out.
Right. There are other tells, but ideally you aren't waiting until it gets to that point. And it's about peace of mind at the end of the day. Peace of mind that in a power outage, whether you're home or away, you're automatically going to be protected. Peace of mind that your bills aren't going to spike unexpectedly, and peace of mind that you're not going to find yourself with broken refrigerators or broken air conditioning unit on the hottest day of the year, or Thanksgiving Day, or whatever it is.
What I love about how you've defined like how the system works is that if I'm someone who's at Expo, for example, we oftentimes hear all these benefits about EV ownership. It's like, oh, if you have a garage or a driveway, you can fill up at home. It's like, sweet, I rent. I can't do that. Oh, but if you have a house, you can add batteries and solar. I don't own my house. This shrinking down and making it modular allows someone to say, okay, but for example, like Expo goes to Florida, and in Florida it's like, okay, so how many times have we had to talk about power outages? And that comes up all the time at those shows.
All the time.
And then someone who says, yeah, but I rent an apartment, man. My neighbor that's down the block, they've got solar and home batteries, but what am I going to do?
Right.
They're your customer. That's like a gateway element for them to understand how to use energy.
Well, and let's just to put it in context and numbers, there's 130 million households in the U.S. 70 million are single-family owner-occupied, but the rest are renters, multi-tenant. Yeah. It's about half, half of households in the U.S. We call it the missing middle, and it's a big middle for folks, as you say, can't pull permits. $20,000 is an impractical purchase kind of thing, but their need is no different than everyone else's. And interestingly, it also kind of extends to the coffee shop on the corner and small businesses who often also rent and aren't able to get solar on top of their building, kind of thing. So, at the end of the day, we use power everywhere. Power underpins everything. Our power grid that we built here in the United States is sort of the oldest in the world. Hey, we built the first grid. Okay, now it's the oldest
and
grid.
now it has cobwebs on it.
And now we've got hurricanes and windstorms and everything. And people are doing great work to modernize it, but we also have more tools than we used to, right? At the edge, EVs, smart batteries, devices in our home that you can opt in and have, do things in the background such that you get paid and you help keep your neighbors protected so the grid doesn't go down.
Well, in distributing energy around, I mean, utilities use that phrase all the time, like a distributed energy resource management.
DER
right?
is kind of one of those 3-letter acronyms of which there are probably 10,000 in this industry.
Oh, in this industry, like this industry should just be called the acronym industry. I mean, it's like, oh, what does that mean? It doesn't matter, you'll learn. But it's so true that the people that are on the receiving end of all this technology, we have to make it approachable. And I think what you've identified, again, this gap that you developed a product for, is it really brings this opportunity down to earth for the people that have said, I feel forgotten. Again, I'm not a homeowner. What am I supposed to do with this technology? You have a product for that.
Right. And, it's like those folks today, they do have options, but we just don't think they're good enough. It's that you can go buy a pull start gas generator for $1,000 at Home Depot, but you got to maintain it, and it's just sitting there collecting dust in your garage, not doing anything for you the rest of the year in terms of saving you money. You can buy, these like kind of large portable camping batteries that we kind of liken to, just to extend the Sonos analogy, we liken those to JBL's like Bluetooth speakers. I would never put 15 of those around my house. It's great for what it is, which is a portable device, but there's something, magical when it's there and it's in your home, ready to go, integrated from a hardware and software standpoint. So, kind of as smart as a Powerwall, as accessible as, the pull start gas generator. That's what we think about.
And again, the intelligence that you're talking about is so important because if you have a technology product in your house but you don't know how to engage with it and you don't really see what the value it is it's creating, well, it's a hard sell to get somebody to then buy into that. And again, at the end of the day, price point wise for someone who's pre-ordering, what does a single Pila cost you?
Today, $12.99 is the MSRP. You can place a pre-order for $99 and get in line and be among the first to get it. But again, going back to installed costs, what is that $12.99 in context? Well, it's about the same as a nice pull start gas generator from Home Depot that's actually going to last you 5 years. But on a dollar per energy basis, it's actually a bit cheaper than the whole home battery because you cut out the labor. So about 30% cheaper than that full garage system because you can just plug it into the wall and you don't need a day or two of a very expensive contractor's time. You don't have to go hunt down 3 contractors to figure out who's going to give you the best quote. It's simpler across the board.
I mean, my wife and I had Powerwalls and solar installed in our home, and I'm in Oregon, and it literally got to the point where I actually had to design our own system because they couldn't get the permitting to clear, and they didn't know what the reasoning was within the city. And it was, again, months of just chaos. And it's just like, if I could have just walked into the house and been like, you're my living room one, you're my kitchen one, you're my family room one.
And it's getting better. We talk to everyone in this industry from the install side to the utility to the permitting departments, and it is getting better, but it's just a pace thing, right? We don't think we need to wait, right? Those complicated systems will become easier to install. We think more and more people will get them, but there's still a ceiling. And that's where we go back to renters, condos, multi-tenant, cost-sensitive folks that just want to get started.
Yep.
I mean, let's face it, the renter is not going to stay in an apartment. More often than not, they're not going to stay there more than a couple of years, right? I've moved around more times than I can count, and I would have loved to have a product like that I could have brought with me. But to tell you the real reason why I like Pila, because, I grew up in the town where Alessandro Volta is from.
There you go.
Exactly, and Pila is battery in Italian, so,
Well,
that's great, actually.
just to go off that for a second, that was actually the inspiration for the name, right? The Pila di Volta. It was the very first electrochemical battery, so stacks of copper and zinc plates, and it was Alessandro Volta, for whom we have the volt unit of measure to thank. But, we thought that was a really, we were asking ourselves, how do we go back to the basics here, and drew inspiration there. And it's a fascinating story of how he ended up with that design. It came from dissecting electric eels, in 1800. The history of this stuff's fascinating, but that is where the name comes from.
Wow. Yeah. Well, but again, every brand has a backstory. And I think what we're talking about here is that, again, why we have this space at Expo is because the industry exists because of this connected experience that has either been lived by an individual that's been able to have exposure and a hands-on process for what we're seeing, for how products are developed. But then it turns into translating it into an event like this where you can have a conversation with the public about this is how it's evolving. And like you said, there's no reason to wait. If we have the technology and we see these gaps, we can create solutions for them. So, overall, again, this is something. So when did you first found Pila? because this is not exactly, again, you've got all the experience with Tesla, then with Span, so this is not like you've been doing this for a decade for Pila. This is something that's born out of your journey.
That's right. Yeah, we founded Pila in April of 2024. So we've been moving very quickly with an awesome team, ex-Tesla, Span, Amazon, Alexa. So it's really the right group of folks. It's the right time. And we found that our customers are incredibly excited for it as well. And as I sit here and look across to all of these amazing electric vehicles, I get really excited about more optionality and backup as well. And a big part of our vision, all of these things need to work together. It's not about creating these pocketed ecosystems.
There it is again. Like, we've been talking about that all day.
I'm glad to hear it, right? Yeah. Because there's so much risk of lock-in and hardware that gets bricked, and we've seen it in the IoT space for years now. Like, let's just be done with it, right? So a big part of our vision and what we're pushing forward is this idea of a connected ecosystem that may include a big stationary battery. It may include your vehicle. And I'm really encouraged to see codes and standards kind of pushing at pace, and product manufacturers on the vehicle side pushing at pace to bring vehicle to home to market, because I believe that will be the first kind of bi-directional use case that makes sense for most homes. Pushing power back to the grid, getting paid for that's great.
That's a harder sell. I think you're right. Is if you still control it, that's going to be more inviting for more people.
Right. And there's wear and tear kind of considerations. Right. But when my power cuts off and there's a clock ticking on my food going bad, I'd be more than happy to borrow a little bit of range out of the car. Especially if it could be supplemented with the home system, and everything was kind of negotiating, like, hey, I'm in the fridge, I actually really need to stay on for the next couple of hours. Okay, you get some energy. The auxiliary air conditioning system, maybe we put that in park. Maybe we dial that down a bit. So that's really what it means to talk about system level intelligence. But again, just couldn't not mention it, given that we have so many great manufacturers on the OEM side, Tesla, GM, Kia, and others, finally kind of getting these solutions out, and customers have been asking for a long time.
Well, one of the things that I think is important about why Expo is here and what you're defining is that a lot of this is new to people. I mean, again, you mentioned it earlier. It's like we don't really actually actively think about this stuff. It's being presented now in a way of, okay, this can be overwhelming to a lot of folks, but I think the level of agency that you're giving to consumers who can say, I can make a decision on owning it, and like you said, you're like, hey, look, I rented, I moved a ton. This is something I could have, and even if I'm moving from a studio to a 1-bedroom to a 2-bedroom, that is something that's going to go with you. Again, my system I have at home,
just meet me where I am, right?
Yeah, it's all about meeting people where they're at, giving them options, making things work, and designing for a long lifetime. It's not about a consumer widget, with a 1-year warranty, but something that's really infrastructure grade at its core, which is something that we've brought into our product design from the beginning. That Powerwall mindset of, like, this is not just for your home, but it can be a grid asset. And the reason you do that is utilities are excited, ready, and in many cases happy to pay for getting this functionality onto their grid. It helps them operate the grid a bit better. So to build with that infrastructure grade mindset is something that was very important for us. And ultimately, what does the next generation of all this look like? Batteries everywhere that are either embedded or you set up yourself, that are coordinated without you having to be in the driver's seat.
You're not the one making them work. They function together.
And having that all exist as aware of the utility grid, and at the end of the day, that's just going to create a utility grid that stays on more reliably, and it'll show up on our power bills too. Lower cost to operate.
Well, again, this is the EV Reality Check Space powered by GreenCars.com. The EV portion of that being electric vehicles, but all of this is part of the fact that we have an energy discussion that we have to be having. So, Cole Ashman, CEO, founder of Pila Energy, thank you so much for coming by. This was an awesome conversation.
Thank you.